Hello everybody, thank you for watching. I'm doing this important video as a sort of follow-up to the last one I did about United Nations voting on the 1st of December to divide Israel by force if need be. But each time America did that in the past, tried to vote to divide Israel, some things happened. Like in the Bible, it says in Zephaniah 2 verse 8 and 9, which says, 8 and 9, which says, "For this is what Yahweh, God of armies, has said, following after the glory he has sent me to the nations that were despoiling you people. The he that is touching you is touching my eyeball. For here I am waving my hand against them, and they will have to become small to their slaves. And you people will certainly know that God of armies himself has sent me." Can you imagine it? He said anyone that touches Israel or does anything like that is like touching God's eyeball. It's very sensitive matter, you know, very, very sensitive matter. So I'll give you some examples each time America has tried to divide Israel's lands, you know, with Palestine, or etc. So in 1991, the same time that George W. Bush Senior was at a podium in Spain talking about, you know, giving up Israeli lands for peace with the Palestinians, you know, dividing Judea and Samaria and East Jerusalem. Same time, the perfect storm occurred in 1991. It says that on this day in 1991, the so-called perfect storm hits the North Atlantic, producing remarkably large waves along the New England and Canadian coasts. Over the next several days, the storm spread its fury over the ocean off the coast of Canada. The fishing boat Andrea Gale and its 6-member crew were lost in the storm, which this book, Perfect Storm, was based on that story. On October 27th, Hurricane Grace formed near Bermuda and moved north towards the coast of eastern United States. Also, at the same time, 30-foot waves hit, while he was in Spain talking about peace, 30-foot waves hit President Bush's home in Kenneth Banks, Fort Maine. Some of the waves are massive, you know, 40 to 80 foot waves. Also, again, in prior to 9/11, only 17 days prior to 2001, the 9/11 Twin Towers incident, President Bush at the time was going to speak to Crown Prince Abdullah about dividing Israel into two states with you know, the Arab states, you know, with the Palestinian states. And again, on the 24th of August 1992, when they were trying to divide the land, America, Hurricane Andrew occurred, which was one of the worst in US history. Each of these events were not just minor, there's 90 record-setting events, each costing billions of dollars. So you can see, just every time America tried to divide Israel, something happened. And again, with Hurricane Katrina, no, even before Hurricane Katrina, when they were, Bill Clinton was speaking with President Yasser Arafat, the Prime Minister back then of Israel. They actually were, there was an accord signed on September the 13th, 1993 on the White House lawn, which included the Declaration of Principles on Interim Self-Government. And that was the government of the State of Israel and the PLO team decided to divide the land of Israel again. So this was Oslo Accord between Israel and Palestinian state was signed. And the next thing that happened was this. Same time, the Great Mississippi River and Missouri Rivers flood of 1993, or Great Flood as it was called, in 1993 occurred. And this Great Flood occurred in American Midwest after the accord was signed along the Mississippi, Missouri rivers and their tributaries, April to October 1993. And the flood was among the most costly and devastating to ever occur in the United States, with 15 billion in damages. And it says it was the worst such US disaster since the Great Mississippi Flood of 1927. And as measured by duration, area inundated, persons displaced, crops and property damage, a number of record river levels in some categories. The 1993 flood even surpassed 1927 flood, at the time the largest flood ever recorded on the Mississippi. Again, and then what happens? Assad and Clinton. This is Assad's father. Back in the talks raised hopes for peace. Again, talking about peace talks and dividing Israeli lands with the Palestinians. Mideast Syrian leader for the first time says he wants normal, peaceful relations with Israel. At the end of Geneva meeting, President Clinton calls him indisputable to process. This is January 17, 1994. Syrian President Assad met with President Clinton on Sunday and raised hopes for a breakthrough in the Middle East peace talks by declaring for the first time that he hopes to achieve normal, peaceful relations with Israel. So all this, is that they believe by splitting the lands they could achieve this peace and security. But this is also, a prophecy in the Bible which will be short-lived. And what happened soon after this meeting occurred about splitting the land in January 1994? A powerful 6.7 earthquake rocks southern California, the Northridge earthquake. A very powerful earthquake hits California soon after. However, in 1994, Northridge earthquake occurred on January the 17th, basically on the same day. Epicenter, and a neighborhood in the north central San Fernando Valley region of Los Angeles, California. It had a duration of 10.20 seconds, and the blind thrust earthquake had a moment magnitude of 6.7, which produced ground acceleration that was the highest ever instrumentally recorded in an urban area in North America. So it was very, very powerful. The death toll was 57, with more than 8,700 injured and a lot of billions of dollars worth of damage. Again, on the 15th of October 1998, and there was Mideast peace talks begin in Maryland, again with the Clinton and Yasser Arafat in 1998. And what happened soon after? October 1998, this happened. On the 17th of October, 2 days after the talks began, heavy rain hits America. Rain onslaught in 1998 surprised experts. And this is Texas floods of 1998. On the weekend of October 17 to 18, 1998, a pair of hurricanes over the eastern Pacific and near a stationary cold front led to disastrous flash flooding over Guadalupe River and over to the San Antonio metro area, when heavy rains began on the morning of October 17 to the mid to high level moisture from the weekend remnants. So in other words, it was very, very devastating floods of 1998. You know, you see, just a few days after the talks, devastating floods claimed 31 lives and millions perhaps of pounds of damage and property losses. It says here the heaviest rains in some areas met the criteria for a 500-year flood event. You know, so you can imagine it. One of the worst floods in living memory at the time, Texas floods of 1998. These were flash floods, and it surprised even the experts. Again, Israel approves Gaza pullout plan on 7th of June 2004. Israeli cabinet has approved in principle Prime Minister Ariel Sharon's plan to withdraw from the Gaza Strip. The vote is 14-7 to endorse the plan. And it seems that, 95,000 Jews, he voted to, again, they claim for a two-state solution for peace. 95,000 Jews ripped away and evicted from Israel. And then, guess what happens? Hurricane Katrina, just a month after, or soon after, 29th of August, Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans and Jackson. Unexpected and very powerful on the 30th of August. And look at all the devastation. Because they evicted 95,000, voted to evict 95,000 Jews. Look what happened. On August the 29th in southeast Louisiana, New Orleans, and at least 1,245 people died. It was very, very devastating. Hurricane Katrina in America. Very soon after. Just 48, not very long after. I think 48 hours after, something like that, but very, very soon after. With $200 billion damage, at least. Hurricane Katrina was the 7th named storm and 5th hurricane of 2005 Atlantic hurricane season. It was one of the costliest natural disaster, as well as one of the 5 deadliest hurricanes in the history of the United States. The storm is currently ranked as the 3rd most intense United States landfalling tropical cyclone, behind only the 1935 Labor Day hurricane, etc. So it was a powerful hurricane.